I'm F. Cole, and I'm an aspiring game developer. I love video games. I love playing them. I love thinking about design mechanics. I love the fact that they're an experience like no other, which at their best can create moments which are totally unique to the medium. Which gamer hasn't, at some point, thought about doing exactly this? I needed a place to start, so I did some beginner game dev tutorials to get a taste. And in some ways, they've underlined just how hard game development is. And sitting back and hoping that someone else releases the game I have in my head, that's easy. So why am I bothering to do this, and why do I think I even can? By day, I'm a regular software programmer, so I guess I've got a bit of a head start on someone starting completely from scratch. But it wasn't until 2020 and lockdown that I started making little games to try and break up the stress of being locked indoors and still working. Making games as a sole developer, even just practice ones, was really exciting. I first played games on my dad's Atari ST and Amiga 500, and it always stuck out to me that it would be one person's name on some of those games. That went away to some extent in the 90s and 2000s, but it's back. You know, the indie game scene is more vibrant than ever, and even if I don't make an impact, I'm excited to give it a go. I think I'm going to struggle to pick this up because there's so much to learn, but I have a feeling that struggle may have some entertainment value in it, even if it's just schadenfreude. But also, I kind of hope that I can help other people understand as I go, and hopefully make them feel better about their own struggles picking this up. Programming, and I think some corners of game design, from what I've seen and sometimes experienced, can be quite elitist, and that's not me. In an ideal world, I'd like to end up being something like Bob Ross, making fun things from simple techniques quickly and encouraging others to do the same. Without the afro, though, unfortunately. While I wouldn't say no to it, I'm not looking to make it, capital M, capital I, as a game developer. That's not really part of my motivation. I already have a job, and I'd be worried that if I got into the industry that I'd fall foul of crunch and end up doing what I do now, but slightly to the left. I just want to see how far I get and put some of my ideas onto the screen and see where that gets me. If I'm honest, I'll primarily be making games for me. I'll welcome suggestions on where to take things, but whether someone else thinks they're good or bad isn't important right now. Maybe later I'll care, but at least for now, I just want to learn what I can, get my hands dirty, and not worry too much about being good at it. You might have heard the parable of the pottery teacher. Roughly how it goes is there's a pottery teacher, it's the start of the year, and the pottery teacher says they're dividing the students into two groups. One is going to get judged on quality and the other on quantity. Marking is easy. For the quantity students, they pop their pottery on the scale at the end of the year, and whatever it weighs, that's their mark. So their job is to crank out as many pots as they can, misshapen, wonky, or whatever. The quality folks, though, they only have to make one pot, but it has to be perfect. The weird thing, though, is that all the best pots were made by the churners. Their first ones were trash, of course, but over time they learned from their mistakes until just naturally they were making really good pots, just by virtue of experiencing. Meanwhile, the quality group, they spent an awfully long time obsessing over the meaning of perfection and ended up mostly just talking about it instead of doing it. Now, I looked into it, and it turns out the original story was actually about photography. A guy called Jerry Welsman, apologies if I'm saying his name wrong, who's a professor at the University of Florida, he genuinely divided his class up that way, and that's legitimately how it went. So if it can be pots or photos, why not video games? So yeah, I'm here to learn by doing, one pot at a time.